What's up guys, it is Nita from Nita's Fluid Woodworks, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make this chiffon piece. I'm Nita and I own Nita's Fluid Woodworks. I'm from Clio, Michigan. So when I started Nita's Fluid Woodworks, I was really inspired by YouTube videos. I saw this substance, resin, I had no idea what it was. And within about a week, I bought my first resin. It was the worst resin I've ever used, but I made my first piece and it sold. And I made a second piece and it sold. And I gave it a name and a Facebook page, and I just kept making things. So when I got the idea for the chiffon table, I was seeing people do these small scale little coasters or necklace pendants and things like that. And I don't like to do anything small. So I thought, what if I took a whole wedding dress and put that in a table? Like, how could I do that? And I did it. And it worked, and it looked really freaking good. All right, so when I'm doing the chiffon technique, I've actually used wedding veils, wedding dresses. I like to take special moments or special items and put them in pieces and just kind of give that sentimental value. That means a lot to my clients, and it means a lot to me as well to be able to give that to them. So whatever size you're doing, this is a 12-inch round, and these are reusable molds, and I like to just lay it over to see what I need. So I also cut it down when it goes in, but I like to just make it more workable and cut it down a little bit right now. So I'm gonna cut it a little bit oversized and take it down after we get the resin in here. I'm not a good fabric cutter. I'm a resin worker. How you want to fill it, how full you want it. I know what I like and what I prefer. It's just kind of on your preference, or maybe if your client tells you what they want. But I like the flowy look, and I'm gonna show you guys how I create that. It's not too busy. It's not really stuffed in there. It gives it a lot of depth. It's really pretty. So I'm gonna be using Promise Epoxy Deep Pour as always. I like to go about 1.5 inches deep, and that will give you that depth with the fabric that everybody loves. This is super messy. You're gonna wanna protect your surfaces and also yourself. Put on gloves, wear your glasses. If you're not in a ventilated area, put on your respirator. And I'm gonna show you guys how to do this. So this is a 2-to-1. And it is measured by volume. I'm going to do about 900 mLs, and I'm gonna pour B first, S's. So go to the 300. So it's 1 part B to 2 parts A. So I'm gonna go up to the 900 with the A. All right, so I'm gonna be mixing my resin. You can mix by hand if you don't have any drills, but I'm gonna start mixing. And okay, hold your cup. If you don't hold your cup, it will go everywhere, I promise. What you wanna do is scrape your sides, because if your resin's not mixed, your piece is gonna have like uncured spots. That's probably the #1 question that I get across all platforms is, what did I do? Is my resin bad? And 9 times out of 10, it's just you didn't mix it good. You didn't measure right, or you didn't mix it. That's where the error comes in. So I'm gonna be using translucent purple from Illumilite, but it's super potent. So when you use it, start with a drip, like 1 drop. So you literally start there and then see where you're at, because you still wanna be able to see the fabric. And then I just pour my resin in. That is my favorite color. Then I'm going to pop my bubbles. Just gonna pop the surface bubbles. And I'm telling you, within like a couple of minutes, they're gone. So after you pop your bubbles, what you're gonna do is you're gonna get the fabric in there. So what you do is you take your piece, You lay it over top, and then you start here. Some of the best projects that I ever do are when people tell me that it can't be done, or that it won't work, or how bad they messed it up, or anything like that, because I want to show that there is a way to do it, that anything can pretty much be done, and I'm gonna do it. And this is what gives it all of that depth and that dimension. So now I'm going to cut down the fabric. So I like to fold these edges so that way they're kind of over the back like this, because it's going to be covered with an opaque layer and it gives it a more finished look. So once it's all in here and submerged, I actually go from the middle and then I like twist it a little bit like this. That's what gives it the look that everybody loves when I make things. We're gonna let this cure for about 2 days and then come back and pour an opaque layer over top of it, and then she'll be done. The advice that I would give to somebody that wants to do something similar to what I'm doing would be to just start. Like, I have people that watch all my videos and they watch everybody else's videos and they have bought literally thousands of dollars of tools, but they've never touched resin or wood or whatever it is that they're thinking about starting. So my advice is, until you get your hands in it, you don't even know if you like it. So start, like just start. All right, so now the Deep Pour Epoxy and the tabletop resin has had enough time to cure, so we're gonna demold this. So you're gonna wanna break the top of the seal and then kind of just beat it with a mallet. Once it sounds hollow, you know it's dropped, and this is the reveal. All right, so once you take it out, these edges are gonna be super sharp. And a lot of people like to talk crap about me doing this because they say it's an extra step, but I don't like to cut my hands more than I already do. So I do take that edge off. I'm going for the glossy look, so I'm going to sand it with 220 and then get a tabletop resin over top of it. We're not taking anything off. We're just gonna get this textured off, which should be good here. You guys probably noticed that I do not have a dust mask on, and what makes this sanding setup really cool is that this dust extractor works really good to make it a dust-free zone. So that's a plus. Then we're gonna wipe it off with alcohol. We're gonna be doing the seal coat now on the chiffon. We got all of the dust cleaned up on it. Make sure your piece is level or pretty damn close to it. When we do a seal coat, we're gonna do 3 ounces per square foot. We are using tabletop resin. I'm gonna be putting B in first before the A because this is thinner than the A. And it's gonna give you a leg up on mixing, just because if you pour the A in there, like, it's gonna get stuck down in the corners and stuff. And this one's got a lower viscosity and it's actually just going to make mixing a little bit easier. It just does give you a leg up on mixing. Okay, so when you look, like, this one is a lot thicker than the other one. You see how thick that is? All right, so I'm gonna put the resin in warm water, and this is gonna allow it to mix a little bit better when it's thinner. But don't leave it in here for too long. If your water's too hot, it will spark flash cure, and you don't want that to happen. It gets hot, it has the exothermic reaction when it's in a mass form, like a cup or in a deep pour or something like that. But this is a tabletop, so you're pretty good. So it's our job to cover the surface with the resin evenly, all right? So just pour in the middle, then take your trowel and you spread it around, but don't push it over the edge yet. You're gonna wanna make sure that you have time to cover your whole surface before stuff starts like just water falling over the edge. And then once you got it there, then you can start pushing over. And this is why I round all of my edges, So I'm actually gonna wrap it down under, and that's why we did the round over on the bottom, and it's gonna allow it to kind of encase it. If you look right now, there are inconsistencies on there and stuff, but once you put some heat on it, it will all level out. And I actually use the light and the glare to show me where the bubbles are. So if you look from the side, you can see the spots that you need to pay attention to. Keep your torch moving, like don't stay in one spot for too long. Ah, that is so pretty. That is so pretty. All right. We're gonna let this cure and we will come back in about 24 hours. Good. So Nita's Fluid Woodworks got its name from my love and passion of the fluidity of resin. It just flows, and to be able to manipulate that, because resin has a mind of its own and it's gonna do whatever the hell it wants to do, but I get to make it do something else. So that is all right, so our flood coat has now cured. This thing looks phenomenal. This is exactly what we were going for. Like, this thing is so pretty. So we're gonna start with 80 grit, and that's just to get these drips off. All right, so a couple of things when you're sanding resin is keep your sander flat, don't dig in, because one of the first things that everybody does when they get an epoxy piece is they put their hands on it and they want to touch it and they want to poke it and they want to do things like that. So just go down a grit. Like if 120 is not good, go down to 80. So as you're sanding, always work with a clean surface. Between grits, I like to use 91% isopropyl alcohol. It just makes it easy to wipe the dust off. All right, after the 120, we're gonna do 220 and then an oil. Wipe it off. Hit it with 220. Rule of thumb for when you're sanding is 1 second an inch. So you just kind of keep it moving. You don't want to stay in one spot for too long because that's going to make your surface uneven. All right, so you get your dust off, and then I'm going to finish the back of this with some Odie's oil. Odie's oil just gives things a nice finish, and it smells like really, really good. So you just put it on, you spread it around. It kind of brings life back to your piece, makes it not look so dull. All right, so once you have that on, it's literally a wipe on, wipe off. Try not to get it on your finished surfaces, like around the edges and stuff. So just make sure you get all of it off. And you'll be able to tell if it's not because it's a little bit oily. Right. Clean your surface. All right, I'm using some epoxy cleaner from Promise, and that's gonna give you that glass-like sheen, and she is done, and she is sexy. All right, you guys, thank you for following along. I had a lot of fun making this. If you wanna see other stuff like this, or you just need help in your resin journey, you guys can hit me up on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. I am in all of those places, and I try to make myself as available as I can, being a mom of 5, but I promise I got you.